We're here today in a section of the vineyard at Surrey Community College, and behind me is our Watson Trellis System. I wanted to give you all a chance to see this trellis system and a variety that over the years we found to be an excellent fit for this particular trellis system in our region. So the Watson system was developed in Texas by Jerry Watson. It's been used in Texas and also in some other southeastern states, including Georgia. The variety that we have established to this trellis system is Traminet, which is a important variety for us here. It's a hybrid variety that tends to have a lot of excessive vigor and is very productive. So it tends to be a good fit for this particular divided canopy system that can accommodate that excessive vegetative growth and the potential for producing very productive and high quality yields. So some of the aspects of Watson that are important to highlight are that the fruit is below the leaf area and is in a shaded environment. So you may be thinking, well, why would I want to have shade on my fruit? But in this trellis system, we're growing these grapes for a sparkling style of wine or for bulk production. So for those types of styles of wine, we're not as interested in having a lot of intense varietal character, and Traminet in some occasions actually produces excessive amounts of varietal character. So we found this to be a very good fit for our sparkling wine production program. Also because the fruit is allowed to hang free, separated from the leaf area, it tends to be less prone to rot. It's also a good idea to only plant varieties that are inherently less prone to rot because there can be some humidity buildup and less spray penetration into that area where the fruit is hanging below the canopy system. So some of the other aspects of the Watson system are that it's easy to access the fruit for harvest, and we have been able to not net the fruit and still keep it protected from birds because the fruit is not obviously located outside of the canopy where birds are able to identify it and access it. So we're excited to be trialing this system for 3 years now. We've produced several different styles of wine, but again, we found that it's a best fit for our sparkling wine program, which is a really important style of wine that we should be investigating and pursuing in the southeastern region of the United States. Underneath the Watson system, you have easy access to harvesting the fruit, and we strategically pull leaves earlier in the season to make sure that there's no obstructions to the fruit receiving sprays when we have to make our targeted fruit sprays for different pests and diseases. You'll also notice that there's a lot of shade underneath, and what that promotes in the berries is less intense varietal character, which is desirable for sparkling styles of wine. And then also, if we're trying to make a more nuanced and subtle expression of the Traminet grape that has more fruity notes, more subtle fruit notes, and less intense floral characteristics. We, on occasion, will have some issues with poor fruit set in this particular trellis system, because if we have wet bloom conditions, the clusters will stay wet for a longer period of time. On occasion, that's actually beneficial because it results in a much looser cluster, which is desirable. So we have better airflow around the berries and more rapid drying of the clusters so that they're less prone to bunch rot. But in general, this particular architecture is great for this variety because it has a more procumbent and downward growth habit. We can spread out all of that foliage, and we can still retain right around about 4 to 5 tons to the acre on this variety, and the vines are still in balance, and they have plenty of energy to ripen the fruit and also harden off for the winter. Now that we're finished picking the Traminet, we'll take these grapes over to our on-campus winery facility where they'll go into the press whole cluster. That's the processing technique that we use for our sparkling wine production. And from there, they'll become a part of our cuvee or the blend for our sparkling wine for this particular vintage. and the students will help with the cellaring process, the aging process, and will also help us in marketing and making sure that this fruit reaches our consumer audience. So we're really excited about the 2021 harvest and excited to share our wines with you. This is our 2021 harvest class, and they've just experienced their first harvest on the Watson Trellis System with the variety Traminet. The students in this class help with all the aspects of harvest, organizing their labor crew, and also we have lessons throughout where we talk about the different aspects of harvest logistics and harvest organization, when fruit is ripe and ready for harvest for particular styles of wine. So in this scenario, they're really learning hands-on what it takes to be successful from all aspects of harvest. Behind me is our sustainable agriculture building. That's a 5,000 square foot facility that has a shop, classroom, hydroponics lab. This is where we host all of our horticulture classes and also our viticulture courses. And it's just steps away from our vineyard, which we're going to go to next and show you some of our equipment in action. This is our mechanical hedger, which has become a really critical piece of machinery for us to manage excessive growth in the vineyard. And in a humid climate where we receive a lot of rainfall, and in the southeast where we're typically growing varieties that have a lot of inherent vigor, we find that we're having to hedge on average at least 4 times during the season, and in excessively wet years, sometimes 6 times per season. And that's an enormous labor cost, and we can perform hedging much more efficiently with the help of our mechanical hedger. The mechanical hedger is really only a good fit for systems where the chutes are positioned vertically, but it's really important that we're able to hedge in a timely way and clear out some of that excessive growth, because that excessive growth contributes shade in the canopy and holds a lot of moisture, which makes our foliage much more susceptible to different fungal pathogens, especially downy mildew. So this has been a huge time saver for us, and it's something that we're really excited to show you in action, and then also talk about some of the ways that we're using some different cover crops to help us to slow down the vine growth naturally and perhaps move away from being so dependent on our mechanical hedger. The Undervine Mower has become an integral part of our ground cover management because we're trying to move away from extensive use of herbicide to control weeds in the undervine area. So this gives us another approach to weed management where we can mechanically control the height of weeds and reduce our reliance on chemical weed control in the vineyard. Next, we're gonna take you out into the vineyard and demonstrate our mechanical hedger, and also give you a view of the different cover crop species that we've recently established, and talk about some of the ways that we hope that that can help to naturally slow down vine growth so that we're becoming less dependent on utilizing the mechanical hedger more or several times throughout the growing season. We've let the vineyard grow a little bit wild just for demonstration purposes to show you just how helpful having the mechanical hedger and the mechanical mower can be, because all of this extra growth is the perfect environment for downy mildew to develop, and it would take a crew of several individuals probably about 4 times as long to hedge this single row as it would compared to our mechanical hedger. So it's a huge time saver for us, and another integrated approach to things like managing disease in a vineyard system. really great things about having the demonstration vineyard here is that we have the ability to trial things and test things out and share that information with the industry. And being one of the first vineyards in the state to have an Undervine mower, we've really learned a lot along the way. And one of the things that has become a challenge for us is actually large rocks, which are abundant in our Piedmont soils, and they seem to grow out of the soil. So this is something that we're having to work around right now, and the way we're doing that is by lifting the deck of the mower to accommodate many of the large rocks. But what we're going to have to do in the future is actually harvest rocks, and that will be, again, a lot of labor that we have to put into that, but hopefully will protect the mower from damage, and we'll be able to get a lot of use out of it over the years. Some other things that we've realized is that this Undervine mower works better on level ground. So if you have an extreme slope in your vineyard, you may run into some challenges operating the swing arm mower because it is spring loaded and it will move with its weight. Some of the other things that we've observed is that it's really important to have straight trunks. If you have any trunks with bows in them or a dog leg, you're much more likely to cause injury to that trunk. And that's a major concern because that can promote the development of galls if your vine is infected with crown gall. So we only recommend this vineyard be used in mature vineyards as well that have a trunk diameter that's able to withstand the impact of the edge of the mowing head here. So now we're going to get ready to demonstrate the mower for you. Again, this is a really great way for us to have an integrated approach to weed management in the vineyard. And it's also a tool for us to be able to control those cover crops that we have established in the Undervine area. So there's quite a dramatic difference before we've used the Hedger and the Undervine mower. And again, we're using these implements to increase our efficiency, but also because they help in our integrated management to managing for different fungal pathogens, which are much more likely to infect our leaves if there's a lot of dense overgrowth in the canopy. And also, we don't want to have excessive vegetative competition in the Undervine area because that can lead to some negative impacts potentially on vine size or even on vine yield or fruit quality. So we're still going to need to trial the use of our Undervine mower and our different ground cover management regimes in the vineyard for multiple years, and we look forward to being able to share that information with the industry as we develop more knowledge and can come up with better recommendations to serve the industry. Right now we're in our section of the vineyard that's planted to the variety Traminet, which is an excessively vigorous variety that we find ourselves having to hedge, again, many times throughout the growing season. And one of the things that we're trying to use to reduce that vegetative growth is some healthy competition from the cover crop cereal rye. Cereal rye is a winter cover and it is established in the late summer, and it'll stay green all throughout the winter and provide nice cover over the soil to protect it from erosion over the winter time. It has a very vigorous root system that helps to create channels that allow for better water and air infiltration into the soil, and those roots also release allelopathy or allelochemicals that can actually reduce the germination of other weed species. So we're hoping to have several different beneficial impacts from establishing the cereal rye cover crop in the undervine area, in that it will hopefully compete with other weed species and then also compete with the grapevines when they resume growth in the springtime and reduce their vegetative growth, and then reduce the need for multiple hedging passes throughout the season. Right now we're in Traminet, which is trained to our Watson Trellis System. And if you remember, the Watson Trellis System is a divided canopy system that produces a lot of shade in the fruit zone and also produces a lot of shade on the ground surface underneath the canopy, which is the perfect environment for our cover crop species, creeping red fescue, which is a perennial species, and we just established this 10 days ago. We've already had excellent germination, and this was at our seed rate of 200 pounds of seed per acre. And what we're hoping for is that this red fescue is going to create a dense mat of low-growing vegetation that helps to outcompete other weed species, perhaps promote some healthy competition with the Traminet grapevine, and helps to slow down its vegetative growth and create a more thin and open canopy. And at the same time, protects the soil year-round and helps to reduce erosion and promote water and air infiltration. This species will also be something that we can manage easily with our Undervine mower. If it does tend to outcompete or overcompete for water or nutrients, we can keep it low growing, and then we can also reduce our use of intensive herbicide bare strip culture and promote soil health and have a more biological approach to how we're managing excessive vegetation in this species, Traminet. Behind me here is our agrochemical mixing, loading, and storage facility. It's a work in progress right now, but what it's going to provide to us is a facility where we can be mixing and loading pesticides and doing our part to protect the soil and to protect water sources from potential contamination from pesticides. So this is a really important facility for us to have here, because we're doing what we can in the vineyard to minimize disease and use an integrated approach to vineyard management. But because we're growing varieties that are still very susceptible to disease, we aren't going to be able to completely eliminate our use of pesticides. And so we want to be careful and responsible with how we're using them. And this is a facility that we hope to have ready to go in the next few weeks. And we look forward to having more information about how this facility is helping us to protect the environment. And we're so glad that you could join us in the vineyard. And we hope you've enjoyed seeing all the different ways that Surry Community College is taking a different approach to viticulture in the Southeast.